Seriously? I thought we were recording the podcast this morning. Come on, Kevin, I'm waiting. Let me in the room. Hey, I thought we were recording the podcast this morning. Where are you guys?
Where are you? We're up in the sanctuary waiting for you.
What do you mean you're in the sanctuary waiting for me?
We're doing it live today in front of the PrimeTimers.
Oh, geez, we're doing it live? All right, I'll be there in a second.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of this thing called Church. My name is Karen Payne. I'm the Director of Communications at Davidson United Methodist Church, and I am joined today, as usual, with Reverend David Hockett and Reverend Kevin Turner. And this is something new and different for all of us. We are not in our Zoom boxes anymore. We are actually in our sanctuary with a live studio audience. Our Primetimer group, yay for our Primetimers! So excited to have you guys with us. I'm sure you had a wonderful lunch, and now we are your highlight entertainment, so no pressure. But we are excited to be doing this actually in person and with you guys as well. So yay. So normally I ask how you guys are doing, but we've kind of already talked about that, so we'll skip. And let's, because I don't care how you're doing.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's talk about mugs, because this is one of the things David's known for, is what mug he uses on each of our episodes. And so, which mug did you bring today?
So this was from the youth, right? The youth.
No, this was from Kevin and I.
From
sorry.
Kevin. I'm sorry.
Yes.
From Kevin and Kevin.
Evidently, it was from Karen and I.
But you bought it on the youth
Choir
trip. So this is Dolly, and some of you may remember I told this story in one of the other episodes where our middle daughter Abby, very young, watching Dolly on TV one day and said, "Hey Mom, why didn't Dad marry someone like that?" Because Dolly was in all of her sparkles and her full glory, and Abby thought she was amazing, which she is amazing. Mm-hmm. But so is Kim, my wife. So there, we'll leave that at that. But I brought my Dolly mug today.
And Kevin, which mug? We normally don't get into the mug thing, but we decided for today that we would each bring a mug.
So I answered a question right on the WDAV, I think it was Instagram, trivia thing, and so Son O'Brien can get it here. It says classical trivia champion, so that's me, from WDAV.
Wait, what was the question you answered?
I can't remember, honestly. It's been about 2 months, but I knew it.
Wait, only 2 months?
2 months ago, yeah.
Really? I thought it was like years ago that you did that.
That was like 2 months. Every week they put up a little trivia question.
He's got his doctorate now.
I know.
He's so smart. He's super smart.
I am smart, but I don't remember things. So.
Okay. My mug is, I'm surprised you asked me about it earlier, and you don't know.
You wouldn't tell me.
No, but you didn't. I figured maybe you would pick it up. No. This is from Prague.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. When we, one of the choir trips 5 years ago or 6 years ago, we went to Poland. Mm-hmm. And that's where I got this. So that's nothing.
Did you get that from the hotel?
No, I actually paid for it at a store.
And a set of towels.
Yes. I didn't have enough room to bring the towels.
All right.
So we've done the mugs.
Yes.
Anything else going on you need to share?
No.
I think we're good.
I want to hear how the sports games turned out yesterday.
Okay, so I had maybe not such a good mom moment. So my son is in baseball, and he was at baseball practice last night, and my husband was there, and I was doing the volleyball, watching. Anyway, I wasn't at baseball. So my husband sends me some video of this kid at bat, and he was like swinging at the balls. And I was like, oh, watching the video, and so I texted my husband, I said, the pitcher's not very good. And my husband goes, that's your son. So I was like, oops. But on my defense, he had been playing first base, and that's all I ever knew, that he was going to be doing first base. Nobody told me he was going to be a pitcher at practice, and so I thought he was the batter. And then I was like, well, of course the kid can't swing because the balls aren't even coming at him. And apparently he may be pitching this weekend, so wish the team well.
Well, don't let Jack watch this until after the game, please.
All of my children will be in therapy,
Okay,
so
that's fine.
it's already a given. I'm not worried about that. But yes, that's one of my proud parenting moments. So I guess we'll just get right down to the questions. Thank you guys so much for submitting them. There's some good ones, or actually they're all really good. And I think we'll have time to hit all of them. So the first one is...
Hold on, we just need to make sure. We don't know what these questions are.
Oh, yeah.
She does, but we don't.
Yeah, that's more
Sorry
fun.
to interrupt, but that's
Yeah,
that's
no.
important for you to know if we sound stupid.
We asked so that we could prepare, but we were
not allowed.
denied that opportunity.
Yep.
So
Nope.
Stump the chump.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, but I would hope you could know some of these. They're not that hard. Okay, so we'll do like the easy and work our way to the hardest. How did you meet your wife/husband, and ages and location of where your children are now? So you can start.
okay.
How did you meet your wife, and where your children are and ages?
So Kim and I have known each other since high school, in like 10th grade maybe. She's a year behind me. She's a year younger than I am. And so we met in high school. We dated a little bit. Really didn't date seriously till college. And when she was in Chapel Hill and I was in Raleigh at NC State. And so we've known each other a long time. We've been married 31 years. And our kids our oldest, Salem, is married, and she and her husband, McCann. Salem is 25. She'll be 26 in November. She and her husband, McCann, live in Raleigh. Abby, our middle daughter, is 24. She is a grad student at ASU in Boone. And Eli, who will be 20 a week from Saturday, hard to believe, no more teenagers. He is a sophomore at UNC Charlotte studying architecture.
Awesome.
So that's them. Yep.
Kevin?
I met my wife about 20 feet below where David is, actually, in the hallway in front of my office in 1999, and she ignored me, and my now mother and father-in-law in the front row here, they talked to me more than my wife did the first time we met. But even still, we got married. We have 2 children. My daughter, Anna Liz, is 14. She's a freshman at Community School of Davidson, and our son, Isaac, is a 6th grader. So we're just starting the teenager thing, so you're up.
Okay, so I met my husband, John, at the copier machine at a race team. I used to work in NASCAR a long time ago, and he worked in the back in the engine shop, and I worked in the front in the marketing department, and he says he had to make blank copies to meet me. So we met, and that was, yeah, right? So 1998, 99-ish, we met. We've been married, wow.
I think it's 18 years.
18 years, yeah, we're a month apart.
Yeah.
18 years. We have 3 children. Emma is 17, and she's a junior at Pine Lake Prep. Sarah is 15, and she is a freshman at Pine Lake. And then Jack. Sorry, Jack.
Poor Jack.
Poor Jack is getting it today.
I know. He's 13. Yeah, he's almost 14, and he's in 8th grade. So we have an 8th grader, a 9th grader, and an 11th grader. Got that right.
She almost forgot her son yesterday at school, so.
Oh, I know. I do all the time. I have to set a timer to remember to go get him, because...
That's what happens when you're the 3rd or 4th
right?
or 5th kid.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like by then you fend for yourself.
Exactly. Can't you walk? You make your daughter walk
do,
here,
yeah.
so he can walk. Okay. We got through that first question. Colleges attended. Let's do this. This is kind of like a 2-part. So what college did you attend, and what led you here? Or where did you move from to get to here? Kind of.
To Davidson?
Yes.
Yeah. So NC State was my undergraduate school. Duke is my seminary, and the divinity school at Duke. And most of you know, or many of you know, I was the district superintendent in the metro district, the Charlotte area, my office was in Huntersville, and so the bishop appointed me here. That's how I got here. Yeah, that's what happens to us. Some of us Methodist preachers is they send us around. So you're going there. Good luck.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll go.
I grew up in Virginia. I went to James Madison University and then Emory University for my graduate degree. Did some work with Wesley Theological Seminary to get ordained, and then just finished a doctorate at Southern Methodist. I ended up here in '99 because I applied to every organist position. And there's a magazine for organists. It sounds so nerdy. And they used to have classifieds. And so anything below DC into the Mississippi. So in January of '99, I applied to every job that was out there. And so I ended up here.
Can I ask how many jobs were offered to you?
Including here?
Yes.
3.
Okay.
Good choice.
Yeah.
4, excuse me, 4.
Okay.
I apologize. Ocala, Florida. I forgot when that one was. So.
Good choice.
Yeah.
I grew up in New England, and so I went to college in New Hampshire called Keene State College. And then I graduated with a business degree, and then started working in marketing and got a master's of marketing from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute,
Oh, yeah.
RPI. I know, fancy, huh?
I know.
I know.
I have to treat you with respect now.
Thank you.
Sorry.
And so then, gosh, it's a long story of how I came here. I've done a little bit of everything, but really you can blame Sherry Carpenter, or I should blame Sherry Carpenter. Yes, because a few years ago I was working the pumpkin patch and she told me there was a position available, and I applied and got it, and then didn't apply for this job though, but kind of fell into this. So
Here you are.
here I am. Yes, church lady.
In front of live studio audience.
Yes, never
Look
would
at
have
this.
thought this would. Yes, exactly.
I don't think any of us up here thought this would happen today.
No.
So,
I
yeah.
missed this class in seminary.
Same.
Okay, this one's kind of, let's just pick one or two, because this is a lot, and we could spend like a whole episode. But what is your favorite book, movie, holiday meal, song, or time of the year? There's a lot. So maybe just grab like some of your favorite things.
Was food in there?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. Favorite meal. Do you want to start first?
Like favorite meal of the day or favorite like time of the year
Second
meal?
breakfast. That's
Second
right.
breakfast is third lunch.
No, favorite book, movie, holiday meal, song, time of year.
I think David should go first.
Oh, thanks.
'Cause if
Kevin. I
he's-
appreciate that. Thank
Just
you.
Well, you
pick a
might go like
couple.
all
You don't have to do
academic.
them
Oh
all.
gosh, yeah. So one of my favorite books is a book by a Turkish author called. His name is Orhan Pamuk, and he has a book called. The name of it is Snow, and it's one of those books where I read the whole. I read it and would put it down, and then I'd read a little bit, and then I'd put it down, and then the last 50 pages of the book, I was just. I was like, oh my, this is amazing. This is like one of the most beautiful things. But it took to the last 50 pages for him to kind of tie it all together. So that's that. None of you will run out and buy that. But if you want to read it, I'll loan it to you. But a fascinating author. And I don't know, I love all kinds of music. That one's a hard one. The Cantique de Jean Racine that the choir sings or has sung recently, that one's a beautiful one by Foray. And then I don't know, my favorite food is anything Italian for the most part. That's I know it's not a specific food, but
Good food though.
it's hard to go wrong with pasta.
Am I going now?
Yes.
I don't know if it's my favorite book, but I was trying to figure out what my favorite. I've read The Great Gatsby 3 times. Like once when I had to in high school, and then twice since I've been out of high school.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, but I found I identify with different characters like throughout my life. Like in The Great Gatsby, I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. Favorite. I love anything. Like I love Asian food. Like
Asian.
love it. What was the other one? Favorite.
Song, time of
I
year.
can't do music. Sorry. Time of year. I like the fall. I like especially Thanksgiving to Christmas. My favorite time.
Yeah.
I can't recall any books or movies because they're all good and then I forget. Like I'm not good with titles. I would say my favorite meal is breakfast. I love breakfast for dinner. I like breakfast. And then my favorite song, sorry, it's not like, it's Always Be Humble and Kind by, well, Tim McGraw does a really good version.
But you don't like country music, so go ahead.
And my favorite time of year is spring.
Really?
Yes, because everything is coming up and it's green and it's beautiful and it's getting warm and it's all new and flowers. Fall, everything is dying. It's going to get cold. The days get shorter.
It's wonderful.
I feel judged.
Yeah.
Everybody loves fall. Like everybody
But I
loves
don't like
fall.
pumpkin spice stuff, but I like fall.
What about, all right, what's your preference?
Winter. Yeah.
Oh, well,
It just
you
kind
were,
of has
yeah.
a beauty about it.
I kind of feel like it's a comment on our souls right now.
Speaking of pumpkin spice, I did see on someone's Facebook feed today that there was pumpkin spice link sausage is out
What?
now. Yeah, seriously, it's a thing. Pumpkin spice link
Why would
sausage.
you ruin sausage?
I'll let you
Exactly.
guys try that and tell me how it is.
Yeah.
No.
I'm gonna pass on the
Oh my
pumpkin spice
gosh.
link sausage.
Why would you rate? No.
No.
I didn't buy sage sausage the other day, though.
Sage?
Yeah, I didn't buy that because that seems too fancy to me. Just like plain sausage. Hope there any sage in it.
Tell me there's no hamsters made like out of sausage or
It's not
something.
hamster, it's guinea pig.
Oh, guinea pig.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you can grind up pretty much anything and put it in a casing,
That's true.
right?
Yeah.
So there might be guinea pig sausage. I don't know. You guys may have missed that episode too, but I had guinea pig in Bolivia when we were there for a while. They really do eat guinea pig. I'm not making that up. It wasn't a cruel
It
thing.
would take
they
a
were
long
doing.
time
Well,
to make
maybe
guinea
it
pig
was,
sausage.
but it's a delicacy in parts of South America. So.
I think it would take too long to make guinea pig sausage. I was just pondering
Oh,
that.
they take a
It's
lot
small.
of guinea pigs. They are relatively small. We should probably stop talking about
Okay.
turning guinea pigs into sausage.
I'm not the one that ate it, so.
We'll just move
Okay.
right on past that.
All right. This question is for David.
All right.
Yeah, we get off the hook with this one. Okay. Being the senior pastor of such a large church, what is the hardest or most difficult part of your job? Not the staff, of course.
No, the staff's amazing.
Or this.
Yeah.
Or this, yeah. The hardest part of this job is getting to know people, because there's so many of you all. Getting to try to be able to build relationships with a large part of the congregation. It's it's impossible. It's impossible at one level. I can't know everybody, and as a person who is a pastoral pastor who likes to build relationships with people, that's a challenge in a church this large too. And I think all of our pastors would probably say that. That, and then trying to keep us all moving, as many of us as possible, trying to keep us all moving in sort of the same direction, right? That's also a challenge as well. But those are good challenges, right? Mm-hmm. We could have not very many people and not have any clarity about where we're going. So I think those are two of the hardest.
Here's another question. I take the Bible too seriously to take it literally. As a result, I believe many of the stories are metaphors for the real message. My question, where can I get solid answers about what the metaphors mean, if they are metaphors? Anyone? Bueller?
Bueller.
Right.
I would say start with commentaries. If you get a study Bible, a lot of times they'll have things on the bottom that kind of give you some information. That's a good place to start, and then they will have citations that you can look, a bibliography from where they got that information. It might take 2 or 3 steps to get that kind of information, but David, what would you say?
Well, and the Bible is a variety of types of literature. So there is metaphor, and there's poetry, and there's history, and there's theology, and narrative, and genealogy, and so there's a variety of kinds of literature. The Bible's more of a library than it is a kind of a unified book. But I think commentaries help. There's some wonderful, studying the Bible together. The Scripture was meant to be read in community. It's great when we read it on our own for personal devotion, but really it's the church's book. I know with the Protestant Reformation, we translated it into everybody's language and everyone can read it, and that's a great thing. But it is better when we read it together, interpret it together, wrestle with it together. So I think that's where I would start, is reading it together in community with the help of maybe a commentary. N.T. Wright has some wonderful little books called, they're the name of the book of the Bible, and then For Everyone, so it's Acts for everyone, the Gospel of John for everyone, and they're really simple, easy to read, and they have some questions after each chapter. So I recommend those. They're not expensive, paperbacks. You can probably order them online.
Okay, I just thought of a really stupid question. But is there right or wrong answers in the Bible?
You mean in terms of interpretation? Yeah, there is correct and incorrect interpretation.
So there is?
There is.
Okay.
Yeah. We can't make it say what we want it to say.
But don't a lot of people do that?
Some people do that.
Okay.
We try not to do that.
Don't some people do
I'll
that?
rephrase that. We probably all do that.
Right.
Well, that's good.
Just to some level.
That's very good.
Yeah. But we do, I mean, we that question, it pointed this out. We as Methodists, we're not a tradition that reads the Bible literally. We're without believing that you can just read it, there it is. It doesn't require any interpretation. It does require interpretation. And the Spirit both guided the writers of the Scripture. The writers of Scripture were inspired, and our reading and interpretation is inspired by the. I don't want to leave out the work of the Holy Spirit in helping us understand it well.
Good. Anything else?
Oh, that's good.
That was good. Yeah. Okay. The fellowship I enjoy at church seems more important to me than studying theology. And mainline Protestant theology seems about the same everywhere. Is there a Methodist theology? And if so, is it in any substantive way different from that of any other Christian Protestant theology? That's a lot.
That was a long question.
I know, that's a
Can
lot
we go
of
back
theology.
to the food again? Sorry. All right, read it again. Sorry.
Is there a Methodist theology? And if so, is it different than any other Christian Protestant theology?
Yes and yes.
Yes, there is. A distinctly Methodist, Wesleyan way of understanding the Christian faith. And yes, it is different, distinctly and substantively different. That's a great word. From other Protestant understandings of the Christian faith. So there are substantive differences between Methodists, Baptists, Presbyterians, Lutherans. I'll leave out the Episcopalians for a moment because we really are sort of, we are a branch of Anglicanism in many ways. Our theological foundations, because Wesley was an Anglican priest, our theological foundations are rooted in the Anglican tradition. And if you look in the Book of Discipline, the 39 articles of religion from the Anglican tradition, they find their way into our Book of Discipline as about 33 articles, maybe, something like that. Wesley leaves out some things related to the monarchy and a few things that were specific to England. But so we flow out of that Catholic Anglican side of the Christian faith. More so than out of the more more radical Reformed side of Christianity that would find expression in, say, the Baptist Church or Presbyterians and those traditions. So we are more Anglo-Catholic than we are Presbyterian, Puritan, Baptist.
Yeah. And I think in the South, everything does kind of look the same. Just like you can find Methodist churches that look Presbyterian, I think you can find Presbyterian churches that look Methodist. And in the South, I think we have a lot of homogenization of Protestantism. But,
We do. But there are distinct differences.
So they're probably more than you want to
matter.
hear right now, but
Yeah, they really matter.
and they do matter.
I
Why
think.
we're Methodist clergy and not
And not
yeah.
Presbyterian or not.
Right.
Nothing wrong with being
Right.
Presbyterian or Lutheran or Baptist. It's just they're different. We're different.
Okay. Why are we discouraged from referring to God as Him, but we still start prayers with Heavenly Father?
Well, I mean, I've not heard us discouraged.
That's what I was, again, I never felt like discouraged.
Right. So some people say, Jesus referred to God as Father, but there's also evidence in Scripture where we hear that God is like a mothering hen. Is that in Isaiah? Gathering, I think it's Isaiah. But to put God into a sex or a gender, that's something that we put onto God. And I think that's one reason beside it. But I've heard people, because I sit over there, I've heard people here say, "Our Mother who art in heaven." I hear it.
Really?
Oh yeah, I hear whoop. I've heard, they change all the stuff. You probably maybe some of you know this. Most of our hymns have taken out the gender inclusive language. It shows up at like Christmas time when you've sung "Hark the Herald Angels Sing." It used to be "Pleased as man with man to dwell," and now we say "Pleased with us." And so every once in a while I can tell who's been growing up on that older tradition because they'll say "pleased with man." Yeah. But I think it's a way for us to acknowledge that we're not putting something on God, that God is transcending gender. And
God does not have gender, so it's good to avoid gender-specific pronouns when we can.
Right.
For God, we can't always do that. So, but it is a way of reminding everyone in the room that God is the God of all people, men and women, and doesn't have gender. God is not a human being. So I think it does matter.
Right.
And so when in newer translations of the Bible, when it doesn't affect the theology that's being communicated, you'll know that they'll use non-gender specific pronouns sometimes. They'll say us or them, or we, or I, or rather than he or she, or at places like in Paul where he might have said, "I speak to the brothers at whatever church." We've said, "I speak to the Christians at whatever church," to acknowledge that there weren't just men in that congregation. I actually had a young woman say once to her mother, she was in a service where I was not preaching and we were visiting, and it was painful, the exclusivity of the language. It was all he. All of it was he. And I overheard her ask her mother, a young girl, say, "Well, does that mean God doesn't, like there's no place for me in this? Does God love me because I'm not a he?" And that young girl had kind of picked up on it. She was smart. And so it does matter. How our language really matters. I've said this in sermons before, because words create the world we inhabit. And so we want our language to be truthful and accurate as much as possible.
I think that goes back to the theology question, that, your words do betray your theology too.
Yeah.
So what we say, it demonstrates what we believe, if that makes sense.
But language about Father is we won't get into this, but language about Father is theological language, and there are reasons that we continue to use that. Theologically, there are reasons. Not because we think God is a male up in heaven with a great big beard, but theologically it says something about who we think God is and how God relates to Jesus the Son through the Spirit.
Well done. Yeah.
Yeah, we could talk. That's be a
great
whole
one.
episode.
Yeah.
That's
Some
a
of
great
these,
one.
we could totally break down. Okay, so here's another one that could probably take some time as well. This is all right. Here's my question: what do Protestants believe about purgatory? And this person went on to describe a book, a C.S. Lewis book, A Grief Observed, which I think Jim did a book study with. And the basic question is, I am not a perfect saint. If I were to die today, is there a Protestant version of purgatory? Is there a waiting room or washroom that we pass through? Yeah.
David?
Inquiring minds would like to know.
Seriously?
Yes.
Well, no, there's not a Methodist doctrine of purgatory.
Right.
Now, I don't know if in all of Protestantism, if there is some reference to purgatory somewhere, possibly, but there's not a Methodist doctrine of purgatory. Wesley was opposed to the idea, and we believe that well, one, you don't have to be a perfect saint to be welcomed into God's presence when we die, because we're saved by grace through faith, not by our good works or being good enough. So, I love that passage from Paul that nothing can separate us from God's love, not even death. So if we are in the presence and love of God when we are alive, however imperfectly, then when we die, nothing, not even death, can separate us from God's love for us.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's great. C.S. Lewis is good too.
Yeah, C.S. Lewis is good.
Yeah.
Okay, this question is relevant, I guess, to today. Or why has the way forward been so quiet? Is the timeline moving up, or is it still late 2022? And why?
Oh, sure. So, you all may recall very briefly that the way forward was a part of the conversation the church was having around human sexuality that led up to the Commission on the Way Forward and all of its work, and the three proposals that led up to the 2019 special session of the General Conference. And the purpose of that General Conference was to think about, is there a way forward that we can move together and continue being one United Methodist Church? And they offered three different proposals for how to do that. And out of that General Conference in 2019, it was essentially a reaffirmation and maybe even a strengthening of the current language on human sexuality that is in the Book of Discipline. There was no change to the Book of Discipline after 2019. There continue to be folks who, within the United Methodist Church, who want us to think about how is it that we welcome all people and offer a more broad and inclusive welcome to all people. So that conversation has continued since the 2019 special session of the General Conference. The Way Forward piece really ended in 2019. That commission did its work, made its proposal, the General Conference voted. That was the end of the Way Forward. So we can really kind of stop using that language because that part of our conversation stopped at the 2019 General Conference. Since then, others have been thinking about, all right, how some want to kind of hang on to that traditional view that was affirmed in 2019. Others want to say, how do we more broadly welcome our LGBTQ brothers and sisters into the life of the church in more full and complete ways? So that dialogue has continued. What has grown out of that is something, you can look it up, I won't go into it in great detail, but the protocol for separation, which was a plan put forward by a group of bishops, laity, clergy, and other church leaders that worked with an attorney he's the attorney who did the Horizon BP oil spill. He negotiated or mediated all of that. So he offered his services free of charge to help the church mediate this challenge, this conversation. And they developed what's known as the protocol or plan for separation, which is a way for churches, pastors, clergy, and others to find their own path in this, to kind of move in the direction that they think God is leading them, whether that's remain in the United Methodist Church, leave the United Methodist Church, create a new kind of denomination, whatever that would be. It's a plan to allow that to happen if folks choose to do that. That proposal is scheduled to come before the next regularly scheduled General Conference, which is supposed to be held in late August, early September of 2022. At that time, the assumption is the General Conference will take that proposal up, will act on it, and then will allow a period of years for churches, pastors, laity to decide where they land in all of that. As you all know, that was supposed to happen last May, but because of COVID outbreak in 2020, we were unable to meet. It's iffy if the General Conference will be able to meet in 2022. In large part because of our delegation outside of the United States, about 30 or so percent from Africa, and whether or not they'll be able to be vaccinated is really in serious question. And if they're not and not able to travel safely, then it would be impossible to hold an in-person gathering if they can't travel. The question is, would there be some way to have a virtual general conference where you could take up this protocol and provide folks for a path to exit or remain or whatever they choose to do? So all of that is still up in the air. We'll see. They'll make a decision probably sometime in the spring of the year if the general conference can meet, and then we'll know. My focus as pastor here is really to focus on Davidson United Methodist Church and help us to be as fruitful and thriving and vital a congregation as we can be, regardless of what the denomination does. We can't sit around for the next year or the next 2 or 3 or 4 years for the denomination to sort itself out, and then we'll decide, well, then we'll be the church when they sort themselves out. We're going to keep going, trying to be a healthy, vital congregation, being the body of Christ in the community, having great worship on Sunday mornings, beautiful music, engaging programs for youth and children and adults, growing as disciples, serving our community. And then whatever the denomination does, we'll pray about it and we'll figure out where we fall within that. But right now, my focus is to try to help us be a healthy church and a vital congregation, to welcome people, to grow, to love Jesus, to love one another, and then we'll see where all that lands. So that's kind of the. If you want to talk more about that, I'm happy to talk with you about it. I'm on the delegation, so I do stay in touch with that conversation pretty closely, but that's kind of where it is today.
Okay. Got some music. Okay, now the last and most important question is, when is Kevin going to preach again?
Has anybody seen? Wait, what? Has anybody seen that show, Designated Survivor?
Yes,
Okay,
I did.
That's me.
Yes.
That's me. So if I'm preaching, you should know there's been a horrible illness on all the other clergy that has.
The rapture has happened.
Like, yeah. I ate the vegetarian meal and they all had the chicken kind of experience. No, I enjoy preaching, but it is, for me, this is where I feel like the preaching occurs in my call, proclaiming the gospel through music. So there you go.
But I did actually think about that the other day.
What's that?
I was thinking about you should preach sometime.
Wait.
Yeah. I was just,
I've not heard this.
Well, the challenge is, we have Virginia, who is amazing and wonderful, and she could keep that side of the room really running well if Kevin's preaching. But it does present a challenge for you,
right?
You have responsibilities that
right.
the rest of the clergy are not good at.
Right.
So you can preach, and you can do it all, Kevin.
Not all.
You're the one-man show. Yeah.
No.
Well, when was the last time you preached?
I don't know. A couple months ago.
We need to remedy that.
Yeah.
We need to remedy that.
We have lots of capable elders to preach, so there you go.
Everybody gets a turn.
But you're
that was
right.
The last question.
You proclaim the word every Sunday.
Yes,
in
thank you.
beautiful ways.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're that ministry team.
Yeah.
Helps us sing our
Amazing.
faith every week. It's
Thank
great.
you. Thank you.
One thing that I forgot that we should have mentioned earlier when we were talking about our coffee, Keith, our maintenance person.
Oh, yes.
We're drinking water. There's only water, clear liquid, not coffee or anything else in our
Nothing
cups.
that will stain the carpet.
Nothing that will stain the carpets. He was concerned that we were communicating that anybody can bring a coffee mug into church on Sunday.
Right. We don't want that.
No,
so.
and we got written permission.
Right. We did have to submit it to the trustees.
Yes.
2 weeks ago.
And then just some other small announcements that we have for those here that are with us, and then also those that are watching. We will have a flu shot clinic here at the church on Sunday, September 26th. I think it's most of the morning. We also and you do not need to register ahead of time for that. You can just come. It's in the Purcell room. We still have spots available for the Fernando Ortega concert, which is October 1st, which is a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Big deal that we have him coming to perform at our church, and that it's free. Like,
Yeah,
that's
huge.
even more like amazing that you don't have to pay to see him, because you were saying tickets were $50,
$75.
$75 at other churches, and
Right.
then he's sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have people coming from Nashville,
Yeah,
Tennessee.
yeah, just to see him. And then, of course, the last announcement is it's not too late to join us. If you've been doing our book study, you can follow along. We have the sermons online. And this week we are talking about intentional faith development. So that's week 3 of the book study. So hopefully you guys are all involved in that and reading along. If not, it's never too late to get a book. You want to give a shout out to our
Team.
team?
Oh, gosh, yes. Every Sunday morning, we live stream, of course, the 9 a.m. service, and there's an amazing team of people that help make that happen. We have folks worship with us from all over the place, and some of you maybe, even if you don't feel well, you're traveling, or just, would rather be at home that morning. We're so grateful to Brian, Abe. I think Will is in the back. Virginia's running sound out here for us today. But Brian and their team is amazing, and we're so grateful for them. And they're the ones that make all of this happen. So thanks to them for their hard work.
Yes. So that's all I have. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No,
You?
I'm good. I think we're good.
You ready to go back to our Zoom squares next
Yes.
time?
It's weird. I had to think about what to wear with pants.
Oh,
Yeah.
You mean you had to wear pants?
I had to wear pants. Yes.
Yeah, you had a wardrobe style. You had a whole consulting
We had a lot of
team.
people consult on my outfit.
Yeah.
Virginia's one of them.
Yeah. Kevin
So if
has-
you don't like my outfit, please direct it to the back.
yeah, stylists, makeup
Yes.
artists.
Yes.
I got permission to wear blue with a blue, and
Yes, yeah. Well, and Brian's been pushing the makeup
So-
more for you guys than for me. I mean, unless he's just being
Nope.
nice because he has to report to me. But he asked this morning if I had ordered the makeup.
no.
We'll see.
That's why you normally see my backside.
So anyway, well, thank you guys all for being here with us in person. Thank you to everybody who watches us when we send out episodes. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Take care and have a great day. Wow, she's good.
Nope, the Brian's good.
Oh, I got a hair. Oh,
Brian
did he
told
tell
you to
you
do
to
this?
get the lid?
No,
Talk about
you
it?
can laugh if you want to.
Oh yeah, feel free to laugh.
Okay, you don't have to be church minds.
This is not Sunday.
No.
You can laugh on Sunday too, if I'm ever funny. Right. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on one second. Okay, so this is where I get really, really, really awkward. And this is like, I always struggle to start the show. And so now doing it in front of people and a camera, not my computer, is even more awkward. So, okay, just give me a minute here.
Just ignore her. She'll get there eventually. We just
Gosh.
No one look at her. Everyone look away.
No, everyone look away. Okay.
I wear special socks almost every day. Yeah, I have. It's yes.
Yeah.
This is about as exciting as I get, or the special socks.
me too.